Good morning. Okay, so make sure that you have that paper copy of your study guide out in front of you. And I'm going to go through the whole study guide with you. Your test is on Monday or Tuesday. So let's go ahead and check and see how you did. So first of all, directions, write the ratio as a fraction. So I know some of you were not paying attention to the words in the direction. Make sure that you're writing that ratio as a fraction in simplest form. So first of all, I'm going to put 5 to 20, 5 meters to 20 meters, and we're going to divide both of those by 5. So that's going to reduce to 1 to 4. So 1, 2, 4 should be your ratio as a fraction in simplest form. Use the ratio table to find the unit rate with the specified units. Remember, finding the unit rate, the number on the bottom has to be a 1. So I'm going to take the ratio of, I'm going to take the ratio of 93 miles to 6 gallons. And I'm going to come over here and put that as a ratio. 93 miles to 6 gallons is how much per 1 gallon. So we're going to have to do a division problem. To find the unit rate, it's always numerator divided by denominator. So 93 divided by 6 goes in once. We've got 33 goes in, 5 times with 3 left over. So 15 and 3/6 would be 15 and a half. Now, I want to make sure I did my math correctly, so I'm actually going to try one more ratio and make sure that that also comes out to 15 and a half. 31 divided by 2 goes in once, goes in 5 times. Yes, that also works out to 15 and a half. So I would do 2 unit rates and just make sure that they reduce to the same unit rate. So, excuse me. I'm just going to erase this so I can show my work. So that's equal to 15.5 miles per gallon. So right over here, I need your final answer. So you're going to tell me 15.5 miles to 1 gallon. Tell whether the ratios form a proportion. Now, this does not specifically tell you that you have to use a common multiplier, cross products, or reduce to lowest terms. So I can very quickly and easily see that if I would do 11 times 3, I get 33, and 12 times 3, I get 36. So on your test, you have to be sure and show me, if you're going to use a cross multiplier, you have to show me what you're using. And then your final answer would be yes, with a smiley. Tell whether the 2 rates form a proportion. Okay, so first we're going to write those as ratios. So we're looking at 14 books in 2 boxes compared to 20 books in 3 boxes. So 14 books to 2 boxes. Does that equal 20 books to 3 boxes? So I'm immediately looking at these numbers and seeing that I cannot use a common multiplier. So I'm going to do cross products. I think that would be the easiest way. So 2 times 20 is 40. If you're going to use cross products, you have to write your products up here in the corners. And 14 times 3 is 42. So that answer would be no with a sad face. Okay, moving on to page 2. Use the table to write a proportion. Notice it does not say solve a proportion. It simply says to write a proportion. So E emails on Monday to 8 hours compared to 30 emails to 10 hours. So all you would have to do is put E emails to 8 hours is equal to, a proportion always has an equal sign in the middle, 30 emails to 10 hours. And you're done. That's your answer. It just says write a proportion. All right, so these directions say to solve the proportion. So it does not specify how you have to solve it. So I quickly see that 9 times 9 is 81. So you're going to show me 8 times 9 is 72. P equals 72. A chemical compound requires 8 ounces of chemical A and 12 ounces of chemical B. A mixture contains 24 ounces of chemical A and 30 ounces of chemical B. How can you fix the mixture to make the chemical compound? Okay, so I'm going to do some highlighting here. A chemical compound requires 8 ounces of chemical A and 12 ounces of chemical B. A mixture contains 24 ounces of chemical A and 30 ounces of chemical B. Question, how can you fix the mixture to make the chemical compound? So we're going to go back to a chemical compound requires. So the chemical compound has to have a ratio of 8 to 12. So that's the first thing I'm going to write over here. I need 8 ounces of chemical A to 12 ounces of chemical B. Now, the first thing I'm thinking is, to do the math, it's going to be easiest if I reduce this to lowest terms. So if I divide 8 by 4, I get 2. And if I divide 12 by 4, I get 3. So I know the ratio of chemical A to chemical B has to be 2 to 3. Okay, I'm going to change colors so you can see what I'm going to do over here now. Now, somebody mistakenly put 24 ounces of chemical A to 30 ounces of chemical B. How could we make this? So I'm going to highlight over here. Remember that we need the ratio to be 2 to 3. So I'm thinking if 24 is going to become a 2, if I need these numbers to be 2 to 3 over here as well. So if I divide 24 by 12, I get 2. So what number divided by 12 is 3? 36 divided by 12 equals 3. Oh, so if this person only used 30 ounces of chemical B, they would have to add 6 more ounces of chemical B to fix their mixture. Your answer in a sentence, they need to add, let me scooch this, hold on one second. Okay, they need to add 6 more ounces of chemical B. Now, there's more than one way to solve that problem. That was just kind of the direction that my brain went. You might have found out a different method, but your final answer should say that they need to add 6 more ounces of chemical B. That's how they're going to fix it. Okay, solve the proportion. Again, it does not specify how you're supposed to solve it by using a common multiplier, cross products, etc. If it only says solve the proportion, you can use any method you want. So I quickly see 10 divided by 2 is 5, and 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. So K equals 4.5. Page 3, find the slope of the line. So be sure on your test, you've got to show me all of that math. You have to write out your coordinates. So we've got 4, 1 6/10, and we have 5, 2. So first I'm looking at the change in y. So the change in y from 1 6/10 up to 2 is a change of plus 0.4. And then I'm going to look at the change in x. From 4 to 5 is a change of plus 1. So the slope of this line is 4/10 to 1. which actually would just reduce to 4/10. 4/10. Okay, number 10. So we have a point at 0, 0. I need a better stylus if you can't tell. And I've got a point at 2, 1. So first I'm going to focus on my y values. So going from 0 to 1 is +1. And then, oops, sorry. And then going from 0 to 2 for my x is a change of +2. So the slope of that line is 1/2. Now we've got a few directions here. It says graph the data, then find and interpret the slope of the line through the points. Okay, so I'm just going to focus on one thing at a time. Graph the data. Before I graph it, I see that this says x and this says y. So I know that my first point is going to be at 3, 6. My second point is going to be at 4, 8. My third point will be at 5, 10. And my fourth point will be at 6, 12. Okay, so 3, 6. So 3 on the x is here. 6 on the y is here. So that point would go in the middle. I'm going to erase my little markers. I should not leave those on there. 4, 8. So 4 on the x, 8 on the y. Those two meet right there. I'm going to erase my markers. 5, 10. So 5 is halfway between 4 and 6. 10 is halfway between 8 and 12. So I've got a point right here. And 6 on the x and 12 on the y. Okay, I'm going to go back and read the directions again. Graph the data, then find and interpret the slope of the line. Okay, so I haven't drawn my line yet, so now I'm going to very carefully connect my points. So where it says interpret the slope of the line through the points, that just means find the slope. So I'm just going to choose my first 2 points. I'm going to choose 3, 6, and 4, 8. And first, I'm going to look at the change in y. So the change in y going from 6 to 8 is a change of +2. And then I'm going to look at my x values. Going from 3 to 4 is a change of +1. So that would simplify to a slope of 2. Slope equals 2. Okay, page 4, we're getting to the finish line. Find the slope of the line that passes through the points. Oh, we know how to do this, super duper easy. So let's look at our y values. So going from, -13 all the way up to 15 is a change of +28. And then looking at 4 and 8, that's a change of +4. So to simplify that, 28 divided by 4, that would be a slope of 7. We are not doing numbers 13 and 14. So we had to cut a few standards out this year because we're at 50%. So that was one that we felt wasn't absolutely necessary for this year. You guys will do that again next year. So we're going to skip numbers 13 and 14. Those will not be on your test. We're going to cross those off of the test as well. So don't worry about those two. All right, use a proportion to do the following conversions. So remember that you have to use that pink sheet that I gave you. You're going to write the proportion. You're going to do cross products. You're going to write a one-step equation, and you're going to solve the equation. That was a lot of what I just said. Okay, your conversion factor goes on the left. So the conversion factor says on the pink sheet that 1 inch is to 2.54 centimeters, as 7.5 inches is to X number of centimeters. So that's the first step. We just wrote a proportion. Now we're going to do cross products to come up with our one-step equation. So I'm going to do 1 times x, and I'm going to do 2 5400ths times 7 5/10, and that is 19 500ths. So we'll always round these to the nearest hundredth if it's not rounded already. All right, so on the line up here, I'm going to write 19 500ths centimeters. One-step equation. On your pink sheet, it says that 1 pound is to 0.45 kilograms, and we are converting that to 90 pounds is to X number of kilograms. So you're going to do 1 times X, go to your calculator, multiply 90 times 45 hundredths, and that's 40 5/10 kilograms. So on the line, we'll write 40 5/10. All right, all we have left is our fair game review. Yay! Solve the inequality. Make sure you show me all steps on number 17. So check your page real carefully. Make sure you showed me all your work. Draw your mirror. Divide the left by -4. Divide the right by -4. Cancel. So this is not going to come out evenly. Now, I noticed that I just divided by a negative. Remember, when you divide by a negative, you have to flip your sign. So I'm going to slide over here and solve 26 divided by -4. That's going to be a negative answer. Positive divided by negative. So I'm going to put that negative side in my answer so I don't forget. So that's going to be 6, 24, 2. So that would be 2/4 or 0.5 or -6.5. So I'm going to say x is greater than or equal to -6.5. Remember, you do not have to substitute and check for inequalities. Okay, good old subtraction of mixed numbers. So first, rewrite vertically. Find your common denominator. So that's going to be 30. 5 times 6, 3 times 6, 6 times 5, 1 times 5. 4 minus 2, 18 minus 5, and that cannot be reduced. So 2 13/30 is your answer on that one. Last one, 75 300ths divided by 6 1/10. So remember, when you've got that decimal out here in the divisor, you've got to move it over. So then we're going to move this one over. So my decimal is going to be sitting past the 3rd digit in my answer. So 61 cannot go into 7. 61 goes into 75 once. That's 61. 5 minus 1. 7 minus 6. Drop the 0. 61 goes into 140 twice. That is 122. Subtract, you got 18. Drop the 3. And 61 times 3 is 183. Both of these numbers were positive, so my answer is going to be 12 3/10. Alrighty, I will see you guys for your test tomorrow. Have a good one.